Ever since Alexander Nevsky came into Rise of Kingdoms, people have been rushing to expertise him. People have been talking about how unbelievably overpowered and strong this commander is. In this short video, I'm going to give you a really gold-head efficient suggestion for how you can maximize Alexander Nevsky and one other surprise commander in the field of battle. So stick around. What's up, everybody? Psych out here with another Rise of Kingdoms video. So one of my teammates, one of my alliance mates, Bear, was talking about a really efficient way to use Alexander Nevsky. Now, obviously, Nevsky is a cavalry commander. Obviously, we've talked about it. I'll put a card at the top for my most recent video talking about Nevsky and just how strong he is. Obviously, Nevsky can boost lots of cavalry damage. He has his first skill is just incredible, tons of skill damage, defense reduction for the target, and his fourth skill is also super impressive, boosting that skill damage by even more. So when Nevsky is a secondary, we know he does a ton of skill damage because we have a big single target direct damage factor here, and we have a big skill damage boost here, making Nevsky really, really strong. Now, there's some speculation going around that Nevsky will be targeted pretty heavily on the open field, which he probably should be because he seems to be a very game-changing commander. So you might be thinking about ways to hide Nevsky on the field. Now, obviously, if you put him with the commander that I recommend, which is XY, you're not going to be well hidden. People like to target XY. You're probably going to be focused down a lot, and Nevsky's going to go down pretty fast. So how can we hide our Nevsky on the battlefield? Now, you might think about, well, he's a cavalry commander. Maybe I'll put it behind a Saladin. Sure. But what I'm going to talk about in this video is a way to hide Nevsky, get a lot of skill damage output, get a lot of effectiveness on the battlefield, and do it for a very, very small number of sculptures. I'm talking about pairing Nevsky with a highly unexpected commander. In this case, we are talking about Guan Yu. It seems like a very unlikely pair. Guan Yu is an infantry commander. Nevsky is a cavalry commander. How on earth could you make these work? But there's a couple of things that actually make this work. And I'm going to show some battle reports from some testing that I did with Bear, who, again, thanks to Bear for the suggestion here. He actually came up with the idea, and then we went out and tested it and played around with it. And believe it or not, it actually works pretty well, particularly if you are a low spender, if you're looking for a cheap investment into two really good commanders that can be quite effective for you on the battlefield. Guan Yu and Nevsky can be done in a really interesting way. So the real key here is this. Guan Yu's first skill does a lot of skill damage, right? We see in its area of effect. And it also has a ton of utility with the silence, and silence is really, really incredible. So when Guan Yu's a primary, we get 2,000 damage factor, which is really good. It's to multiple targets and multiple target silence. So that is a very strong skill. Now, when we're talking about this pair, this very strange pair, Guan Yu with Nevsky, we're talking about actually doing this with all cavalry. And I'm going to talk about the talent tree here in a minute, but for now we know that this skill isn't going to apply. We don't care about this. And that's one of the things that makes Guan Yu really unique. Once you get him to 5111, you can actually just sort of run him out there. You can see I've been using mine at 5132, and I'll just slowly level him up as the next Wheel of Fortune comes around. I'm not in a big rush to level up Guan. The other infantry commanders, quite frankly, in my opinion, suck. So why would I bother trying to rush Guan to spin their wheels? I'm going to focus on getting Guan on the wheel. But point here is that at 5111, he's very usable. You don't care about the second skill. The third skill, we might care about if we're using infantry, but if we are using all cavalry, we don't care. And with this Nevsky pairing, that's what we're going to be doing, is using all cavalry. But we do care a little bit about this fourth skill, which does more skill damage. And that's really the key here, because remember, Nevsky boosts that skill damage. And so we've got a 50% chance when we hit an enemy of doing additional damage factor to a targeted enemy. So a really strong additional damage factor here, again boosted with skill damage from Nevsky, so up to 1,000 or even to 1,400 extra damage factor. So really, really good RNG sort of skill here. But if we get Guan, here's the real idea. If we get Guan to 5115, we're really maximizing Guan's skill damage. And then if we look at Nevsky, the thing we'd be really looking for here is obviously we want 5 on the first skill. And we also want to get this 4 skill to 5. So if we have a 5115 Nevsky with a 5115 Guan, now that's very cheap. That is very doable, even for free to play, even for low spenders. You might have to use some skill resets. You're going to have to get lucky in some respects to do it. But getting these commanders to 5-1-1-5, you actually have a very formidable pair with cavalry. Now, a couple of other things. Obviously, with Nevsky, we don't care if it does land in these. It's actually going to be boosting cavalry, so that's okay because we're going to be using cavalry anyway. But if we can get them to land here, that's really going to maximize Guan's skill damage on this really unique pairing. So we need to talk about the talent tree because we are going to run Guan as the primary in this unique pair. And Guan's an infantry commander, so what talent trees do we go for? Well, perhaps it's kind of obvious here that we have to maximize the skill tree. So here's this Guan Nevsky build that I might go for. We have to put a lot into the skill tree. Now, if you've seen my other videos, and I'll put another card here at the top talking about the rage simulator that I've built and how to optimize your rage. I don't recommend putting 5 into feral nature. In fact, in many cases, it turns out not to be very valuable to put anything in feral nature. But because of this unique build, this seems to be the best place to put our points because we can't put points anywhere else. If we look up at the infantry tree, this doesn't do us any good because we are running infantry. None of these things do us any good because they're all infantry buffs. So it doesn't help us at all. We're going to be using cavalry. So infantry buffs are of no use. So we really want to go all in on the skill tree. We're going to go ahead and put 2 points into feral nature. I've done some analysis suggesting the 2 points might be the most optimal setup here for this, especially if we have a Horn of Fury, which again, I would also recommend for this pair. Horn of Fury is just really good for any pair that you want to pump out a lot of skill damage. And obviously with this pair, that's what you want to do. So let's put 2 points there. Obviously we're getting all of these other things. We have Rejuvenate, we got Clarity, we want that extra skill damage. I even put some points into Naked Rage. I'm not sure if Bear, the testing actually had Naked Rage, but hey, we're going all in on skill damage here. Let's just max out our skill damage, and I don't care if we take some more because we're gonna be dishing out more than we're actually taking in. And then we have to get some stuff out of the Conquering Tree that I'm not really crazy about, but this is okay. We're gonna get all damage for a very short period of time. We're getting a few stats here, we're getting a few stats here, and a little bit of march speed. So it's not great. I do like Buckler's Shield a lot. So we're getting that kind of stuff. So it's not necessarily a maximizing the talents build, but the point here is for a very minimal amount of sculptures, 5-1-1-5 Guan and 5-XX-5 Nevsky, whatever you can have in those XXs is fine. This can actually be a pretty formidable march on the field. And I'm going to show you some test results with actually a 5-1-1-1 Guan. We don't even have a 5 in Guan's fourth skill. And I'll just show you some of those. So again, this was Bear's idea, so we said let's test it. So let me go over here to favorites. And I'm just going to show you a few of the battle reports. We did this with T4. We did it with some gear on. I think he did obviously cavalry gear. In this case, actually, you get a discount on the gear because you don't need to special talent the gear because it doesn't matter. Because if you special talent it, you're not going to get any bonuses. Well, I guess you could special talent cavalry pieces with infantry if you really wanted to run this for a long time. But the idea here is to be a cheap march that you can use pretty quickly. So you're going to put cavalry gear on this march because you're going to be running cavalry troops. Let's see. Let me go find some of our more recent battles. Okay, so here was one of the very first ones we did. I ran my XY Nevsky, my XY, and I'll just show the troop buffs here so you can see it all. My XY is 5-5-1-1. My Nevsky's maxed out. And I also ran my best set of gear here. And so you can see that his Guan Yu is 5-1-1-1 and his Nevsky 5-1-3-5. So he got pretty close to the 5-1-1-5. He's got 5 in that third skill. I think he used 1 skill reset to do it, so got pretty fortunate to land it out this way. But that's a pretty good setup for Nevsky here for this little combination. So you can see his cavalry attack, cavalry defense, cavalry health. His health is not very high because again, he's mostly has epic gear. I don't think he has any legendary pieces. I have a pretty strong set of gear here with a lot of legendary pieces, a lot of health for my cavalry. So my stats are quite a bit higher. No surprise that I win this one handily. But again, I'm using XY Nevsky, which is really, I think, a premier march. He's using this sort of artificial march, this sort of cheap march. And even there, the trade, again, we're using only 3,000 troops. This was the real problem here is I only have a little bit of T4, so I couldn't really run out a lot of T4. I only have about 3,500 T4 cavalry to use, or T4 infantry as well. So you see we use some pretty small marches, but the point here is how close are these? So then we ran it back, and I think I took some gear off. Actually, I think I switched over to Saladin, XY Saladin here. Saladin's an interesting pair because Saladin actually reduces the skill damage quite a bit. Again, won this one pretty easily, and I think again here I'm still using my full cavalry gear here. But now we switched, and I did a few things a little differently. Here I use Saladin William, and Saladin William is really sort of a counter to Nevsky. First of all, Saladin himself does a lot of skill damage reduction, and he also has the support tree, which also adds even more skill damage reduction. And again, Nevsky wants to do a lot of skill damage. Saladin's first skill, when it hits an opponent, reduces all the skill damage bonus effects. So William is a really solid counter. Saladin William is a very solid counter to Alexander Nevsky. But even here, I got wrecked pretty badly. Now, I'll say one thing about my William. My William is only a 1-1-1-1. So that's really why we just said, well, let's put this out there and see how it goes. So you can see my stats are actually quite a bit more comparable to his. He's got some more defense. He's got quite a bit more health. At this point, I think I was using a secondary set of gear. I wasn't using my primary set of cavalry gear to try to even the matchup a little bit. But you can see here that I lost pretty badly, almost 2-1 in this fight. So it's not necessarily a fight you might see typically, but the point here is that the Guan Yu and Nevsky is actually doing okay. Here's the Saladin William again. Let's see if this one looks a little different. Yeah, this time I put my full set of gear on. I said, okay, let me use my full. Actually, I think on the first one I might have had no gear. On this one I've used now my full gear, and I win this time. But it's not just a massive smashing, and this one's much closer. And I think here is where I switched. No, this is still my full set of gear. I think I have one. This must be the one here. Yes, this is the one where I switched to my epic set of gear. So this is mostly epic purple pieces. So again, you can see our stats are relatively close. I've got a little bit more cavalry attack. I've got a little more health. He has just barely more defense. So from a stats perspective, I'm actually a little bit stronger, but he wins. Right, so he actually wins with this pairing. Now, not by a lot, but he did win. So we tried a few other things. We said, okay, well, what about Saladin Minamoto? Again, same set of gear on the Saladin. Again, I lose again to this pair. Let's go. I want to try Minamoto Nevsky. Now, this looks really close. I have to say that my Minamoto is talented for barbs, so it's Minamoto Nevsky would probably do a lot better. I also don't have the relic on Minamoto yet, but this is still pretty close here. Let's jump over to this one here. I said, let's try some archers. I tried YSG Tommy. I have my full legendary set of gear. It's not a full legendary set, but a pretty strong set of archer gear on my YSG Tommy. My Tommy is not, I don't have 5 on her last skill. I only have a 4 there. But in any case, the point is this is archers, and it is cavalry, so even though it looks like it might be an infantry march, it's a cavalry march. He beats me in this one, right, at Wayashitami, which is a pretty reasonable march. And here I went with Guan Alex. I said, okay, well, what happens if I run my, a standard sort of infantry march against your cavalry? Okay, I win pretty easily. Again, I have, and I think in this case, I used my full set of regular infantry gear here, so a pretty strong march of mine. And then we ran that one back again. I think I might have, did I switch my gear on this one? No, I didn't switch my gear on this one. I'm not exactly sure what was different about these two. Oh, you know what? I think I remember on this one, I had a very early Alex proc. Alex procced his skill super early. Like I think it was on turn 2. Let's actually go check my memory here. Felt like it was very early. Maybe it wasn't very early. Or maybe, oh wait, we have to look. Oh yeah, there it is. It was on turn 5. Yeah, you can see that Alex procced his skill here on turn 5. Yeah, lead the charge. So I had an early Alex proc, and I thought, well, let's run that one back. And so we ran it back, and you can see that it was actually not that far apart here. Not such a huge difference. So big picture here is that Nevsky is so good. That boost to skill damage that he gives, the skill damage that he does himself, that even at 5xx5, you can pair Nevsky with some interesting skill damage commanders. I could even imagine pairing something like a Honda with a Nevsky. I think there's a lot of ways Nevsky can be used as a secondary and almost in hidden ways. Again, Guan Yu used to be a sort of a favorite target on the open field, but he's not so much of a heavy target anymore. Now you see the XYs being targeted. You see the Nebuchadnezzars being targeted. Because Guan Yu sort of hides your Nevsky a little bit, you can keep him out there on the field longer. There's AoE damage, of course, in these tests. These are 1v1 tests. We don't get to show that AoE damage, but that march is probably going to do a heck of a lot better than it looks like, and it's for relatively cheap. It doesn't take you very many gold heads. We're talking about getting 2 of the 4 skills on each of those commanders to level 5. And you've got a march that you can use. So if you are low spend, if you're free to play, and you say, hey, I can't max Nevsky right now, I just can't invest all the sculptures in that, maybe you should shoot for a 5-1-1-5 Nevsky and maybe a Guan Yu at 5111, and you've actually got a march that you can use. Again, you have to use a pretty special talent build. I'll pull that talent build back up here just so you can see it one more time. It's not your typical sort of Guan Yu talent build. It has to be pretty specced out for skill damage and to sort of avoid any infantry talents, but it actually works. So look, if you think this is interesting, if you want to give this a shot, if you do give this a shot and you find any results or you have any results to share with it, put those down below. Let me know about them. If you like this video, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thanks so much for coming by, everybody. Bye-bye.